You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Good evening, Mad Men Mafia.
That's right. I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
We have real conversations for you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man. We have real conversations.
Yeah, because, we don't even talk to each other anymore. We just talk to y'all.
Pretty much.
Wait, no, that's a lie. That's a lie and a half. We was playing golf just last week.
Great big lie.
Great big lie.
You got tea time booked already for this.
Why you got to put me in blast?
I'm just saying, dude.
We
They should expect some pictures.
Yes.
They should be expecting some pictures. But we do get together and talk. We don't roast like they did Tom Brady.
We should though.
we
We
should.
We need to do a roast.
Let's roast Tanner.
Well, no.
Yeah, he's not like rich and famous.
He's
so it ain't
well.
fun.
I
He's
don't
like
know.
a normal guy.
I don't know. We could get enough material off him. He's
That's
so
true.
quick.
That's what I'm
squeaky
saying.
clean. Like
He got no dirt.
no
you
dirt.
know? He's got no models in his past.
Nothing.
No Brazilian, supermodels. He's got no Super Bowl rings.
Mm-mm.
He's got nothing,
No jiu-jitsu masters taking over his role.
man. He's got nothing, man.
Nothing. So,
Hey, man, you ever heard of Sigmund Freud?
I have.
Sigmund Freud has this thing he calls a three-part personality theory.
Yes.
And this three-part personality theory starts off with the id. The
Mhm.
id is like the foundational, kind of the instinctive part of who we are as people, as beings, not even necessarily as people, as just a living creature. Then his second part of his three-part personality theory is the ego. So it's id, the ego, and the ego lives well. And then the third part is the superego. The superego is like all of the morals and where we get our values and all that kind of stuff. And then the ego is the part that sits in the middle. And the ego ideally is the part that either leans one way or the other, generally speaking, for a lot of people. Either a lot of people are super moral and, they don't really kind of lean into kind of the instinctive parts of who we are, or they are really all about the carnal, instinctive parts of who we are and don't give a slam about morality. But either way, man, that ego is that part of us that's in the middle, man. That's like the parent that tells the baby, no, you can't have ice cream all the time, because the parent knows, in theory, that ice cream all the time ain't good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the ego, and the way I've learned it, because I like Freud's kind of theory, but the way I learned it was the ego is attached to the body and the survival of the body. So that's why it's all about the pleasures and the morals and why it doesn't like to change. The ego is always the last one to want to change because it wants to keep that homeostasis. So if you're attempting to get better, or you're attempting to get off an addiction, or if you're just changing your life, your ego is going to freak out because it wants you to be safe. It wants you to keep alive and stay safe. And a lot of that comes from, in some cases, the subconscious mind, which is programmed from birth, usually by well-meaning parents and adult figures around you who are living in their own version of ego. And you get all these different ideas programmed in, and then you wonder why when you're 40, 50 years old, like, why do I keep doing these things? Well, it's programmed into your subconscious mind. Your ego doesn't want to change because it wants to keep that homeostasis. So it's something to look into as we want to become better men in society. It's like, well, if I keep doing these things, and ego is not a bad thing. We have to have an ego. It's all part of the body. But that's why, like, when you hear people talk about near-death experiences when they left the body and stuff, they didn't have an ego. They let all that stuff go. And then all the things that used to drive you crazy about them, they don't even have that anymore because it's not a part of them outside the body. So we have to have that ego, but do we have to have it so strong sometimes?
Well, another way somebody might have heard it is, the lizard brain, the monkey brain, the human brain, and that kind of stuff. Again, you hear the term big ego. Somebody has a big ego. And in theory, as literally part of his three-part personality theory, ideally, we have a strong ego, an ego that can recognize both the carnality, the like you said, just the core, the visceral, all that part of us, but then also the morality part is the physical part of us, but then also the spiritual part of us, and exists somewhere in the middle. And ideally, we should have a strong ego that can balance all of that tension and can, tell the baby in the back seat, I'll give you some ice cream when you eat some broccoli.
Right.
that kind of thing. And so ideally, as we get older, as we mature, ideally, we have a strong ego, not necessarily a big ego. Unfortunately, we don't all develop the way we should. We get traumas, we get all this other kind of stuff growing up. And, and especially as men, sometimes our egos get out of check and for various reasons, I think.
Well, I think that's why I wanted to do, because you said we'll do the ego. And I'm like, whose, yours or mine?
I said, stop being a girl.
What? Why you gotta be putting me down blast like that? Why you gotta be messing me up like that?
We keeps it real around here, man.
But that's why I want to do subconscious as well, because a lot of times it's the subconscious programming, because looking at it from subconscious, ego, superconscious, which is our connection to the universe, spirit, God, whatever. A lot of times the subconscious is running the ego, it's running us, and if we don't have a good connection with superconscious or God or universe, then we have a hard time tapping into the power of the subconscious, because subconscious has all the information, it remembers everything we've ever heard, read, seen. But when we're stuck in the ego and not connecting those three together, then we're missing a lot of our power and a lot of our potency. We're missing a lot of things that make us the most powerful and potent person that we could be. Because if we're just in our ego, we're just in the physical, we're just in the 3D, we're missing those two parts. But a lot of times what I see with people, because we don't realize that 95% of who we are is programmed by the age of 8. So you're running around going, why does it feel like elementary school or high school out here in this job? Because you got a bunch of angry 8-year-olds running around having temper tantrums. And so to alleviate that, if you can, you have to get into the subconscious and look at what was I programmed with? How do I alleviate that? How do I rectify that? How do I heal some of these past programs? And that's why a lot of times those who are the most, what we would say, egotistical are the ones who are ignoring all those things and kind of putting on that false front, putting on that mask like, I'm good, I'm cocky, I'm arrogant, then that's where the ego term gets the bad definition, if you will, because people will say, oh, you're all ego, and they're basically saying cocky, arrogant, whatnot. The ego's not bad, it's just, are we even aware of it and using it correctly?
It is a secret sauce, a secret recipe to be able to manage that and to be able to balance that and find balance in all of those things in our life. Like you said, a lot of us are from, at least from a developmental perspective, not necessarily physical, which there is some level of our irony in that, the id, that kind of carnal, that foundational part of who we are is actually the last to develop, where the kind of the mental, psychological, those kind of things, like you said, a lot of those are kind of ingrained by our family, maybe experience, our life experience, and all these kinds of things, while we're in single digit age. And so a lot of times we spend, most of our lives, I think, trying to protect what was damaged in those first however many years, handful of years of our life by circumstances of life, whether it's family dynamics or whether it's, environmental dynamics or whatever it is. A lot of times, we operate out of lack or out of damage or out of just trying to cover up that wound, as opposed to allowing ourselves to experience these things and to learn and go back and unpack the bags and to learn what we can from all of those to be able to have the balance going forward in the future.
Yeah, that's why I'm such a fan. I'm glad I'm adding it to my repertoire, but internal family system really digs into that, because we all have those different voices in our heads. And a lot of times it's that when you get traumatized as a little child, that little, what internal family system calls the exile, that little part of you that, was hurt or traumatized gets put away. And so in some ways you kind of freeze at that age, in that instance. And then you get these managers and firefighters who are there to protect the exile. And you have all these different voices in your head. And I love the fact they call it internal family system, because I just keep thinking of, if I had an issue, maybe there was a, what's it called? When everybody comes to tell you
intervention.
Yeah. If I had an intervention, or if I had an issue and I was like at the family barbecue and I stood up and said, hey, everybody, I got this problem and I need help. And then just imagine all your aunts and uncles and grandparents and parents and brothers and sisters, like how you would get inundated with all these different, do this, do that, different opinions and advice, stuff like that. That's going on inside you. And when we get into even the extreme versions of that, when somebody has extreme trauma, where a lot of their exiles are really pushed out, and then you have the managers and the firefighters really having to take on a strong role, then you get all these people who have like the multiple personality disorder, where you have like, what was that movie, Switch, or One with a
I watch the Disney Channel. I don't
man,
know.
you know what I'm
I have
talking
no
about.
idea.
Glass. No, the one before that.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
that's
But
all we
anyway,
got.
Split. That's the one where he had all the different personalities. And
Does that have to do with a ball head?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he had like 26 different personalities. Well,
All right.
most of us as humans, we've been told that having multiple personalities or having voices in our head is bad, but every one of us does. I mean, you know that you have those times where you're trying to do good and there's that voice in your head going, "What do you think you are? What do you think you're doing?" And then the other voice going, "No, I think we can do it." And then the other voice going, "Maybe we should try this. Maybe try." And you're having this whole conversation, this whole battle inside your head. Well, part of that is your ego, your subconscious mind trying to work together or trying to battle each other. And a lot of us have our subconscious mind and our ego trying to battle each other. That conscious side of you saying, I know better than my subconscious mind, but the subconscious mind holds the programming. And so that programming is running everything. And so you're consciously trying to battle a program that's running your life.
And this is why I like the direction that we take with this show in that we don't go just kind of the low hanging fruit route of society and even of manhood and the man journey and all those kinds of things. We don't sit around complaining about women and the man and
Sometimes.
politics and all. Yeah, sometimes we do. At least women anyway. And so it's real easy to feed the id. It's real easy to satisfy that, and that's how we get off track. That's how it happens every political season. They come out and it's divide us by kind of the foundational stuff that makes us different and all these kinds of things. It's easy to get carbs. It's easy to get that at a restaurant. You go to a sit down nice restaurant, a little small portion of your plate is going to be protein and the rest of it will be carbs because carbs are cheap and they're even cheap to feed you. And so society wants to feed us, and especially feed us as men, the cheap stuff. Doesn't want protein. And we around here try to keep it at a protein level. And so, yeah, sometimes we cut up and sometimes we act a fool, but at the core of it, we're trying to elevate the idea of manhood. We're trying to elevate the journey of masculinity and just the notion of that. And so, yeah, sometimes we can have fun and kick it with the boys, but at the same time, there are other times when, we got to get our hands dirty and we got to deal with some of the real deal stuff. So even a conversation like this could be like, man, I'm just listening to this online. I want some dumb stuff, man. Give me some, that's my TikTok. I mean, it's all that. I mean, they come out, TikToks and reels and shorts and all that. It's just about just give me the little dumb stuff to feed the dopamine in my brain, not get me deep into my mind and into my spirit to help me learn and help me grow. And so I love the way we take the approach. And so it takes some level of maturity to even get through a topic like this. As we talk about this over the next few segments. And so I'm digging this, man. I'm digging, especially as men. Yeah. And, when we get to how men's egos get in the way of a lot of things, and that's going to be interesting here in a little bit too. So,
well, and that's why you come on the show, because we want to go deep. We're going to have fun. We'll have fun with whatever topic, but we want to go deep and talk about things you don't normally talk about. You don't normally talk about your ego and your subconscious mind or your super ego or the super conscious mind or any of those things. These are things that are esoteric and kind of out there, but they're running your life, man. And you might want to know who's running your life.
Yeah. And if you want some dumb man candy, then there's a lot of that online. We choose to be different. We choose to focus on the protein. And so we're going to do that, man. And speaking of what we're going to do, let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC, 12:20 a.m. Boom.
You set your time on there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was watching on here, but now I'm going to do it on here because we don't have a thing.
Are there other headphones over there? Because I don't have Tanner set up. No? Oh, well.
I don't see any.
I guess they're not going to hear you tonight. I don't have headphones for you. God,
oh, you mean like extra one to put by you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Trying to make you part of the show, man.
We tried.
I'll remember. Well, we had a studio intervention today. So those of you watching us, the background looks different because it is. Yeah. Because we went into our studio, and I guess we're not on the schedule today, but somebody else is. So
we got to it.
But that's all right. We got windows this time.
Look at this. Our lunch money.
We're moving on up like the Jeffersons. We got windows now.
We got a few, man. We got some daylight in.
So we can't open the blinds because then it messes up I get glare off my forehead.
So if you're watching this right now, we're just taking a break. This is the recording of our weekly radio show here in Denver. So while we're doing this, we figure let's go ahead and live stream. Let's go ahead and push it out there, Facebook, YouTube, all this other kind of stuff. And and kind of multitask this thing. So that's what you're watching. So we're just a little behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, this wasn't a very entertaining behind the scenes, but
No,
maybe the next one.
We'll kick it up. We will do better.
Doing better. Let's do it.
Jason's going to do better.
Oh my God.
I'm doing pretty good. He sucks.
Jeez.
All right, here we go.
Yes, we are back.
We're back.
This is the Mad Men Show.
Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 a.m. in the where?
On the radio dial in the Mile High City.
High City, baby. That's right. You know what I'm saying? We got, this is a city, we got champions around here. Man. We trying to keep it. We trying to hang on.
Yeah, it's getting close. Getting close.
It's getting down to the wire, man. But, Denver's a good city, man. If you are passing through and you know anything about Denver, Denver's a good city to be in, man. We got all the sports. Everything closes early. That's the only part I don't like around here.
Not that early.
Nah, man. Restaurants close at 9, 10 o'clock. Back east, man, that's what time you leave out to go to dinner.
Yeah, but, y'all are all backwards out there. So. Did you hear that Tony Hawk was in town?
Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
Skateboarder?
Yeah, he was at the skate park. Some kids got to skateboard with him.
Stop lying, man.
He was there. I saw it on the news.
For real?
Yeah.
Tony Hawk in town. What's up, Tony? I know you listening.
Yeah.
I know Tony be checking us out, man. What's up? Holla at your boys.
Tony don't know who we are.
Yes, you do. Tony knows. Watch. Tony gonna text. Watch. He gonna put a message.
All right.
Speaking of
messages, talking about ego.
Speaking of messages, drop a message, man. Drop a comment. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching us online or whatever, go to madmenradio.com. Go to our Facebook, YouTube page, all those kinds of things, man. You can watch all of these and more. We got years and years and years of these bad boys.
We got hundreds of episodes at this point.
After 10 years, we're going to be an overnight success.
Yes.
That's what we planning on. That's the strategy.
We're on the grind, baby.
We on that thing. Talking about ego today. We talking about ego, that part of us that makes choices and decisions for our life. And a lot of times, if you don't have your ego in check, then you settle for the man candy in life. If you do have your ego in check, then maybe you take a nibble every now and then, or maybe you use the man candy to motivate you towards, the greater you, the greater self-awareness, and the greater all those kinds of things.
Well, that's something we should talk about, because I think a lot of folks don't realize how to reprogram the ego, how to change it. And that starts with the subconscious. It starts with the programming, and it starts with taking ownership, taking time to consciously add thoughts, positive thoughts, lots of things you want, instead of allowing that current of programming and stuff that just running in the background. You can change those things. I know most of us think that just those voices and all this stuff just runs and there's nothing you can do about it. You can. It just takes time and repetition. It's like any other habit. You just got to take time to reprogram it. Meditation, prayer, chanting, mantras, things like that are great ways to, because what you're trying to do is override the subconscious mind so that it's no longer doing those negative thoughts that you don't want. It's no longer putting out those reactions that you have, your ego has in that moment. You can actually change it to a more positive. That's why everybody says, you want to do an appreciation, journal in the morning. You want to make sure you meditate in the morning so that you can program your day. You can make intentions of how do I want this day to go? But that's really just programming your subconscious. So these things actually you can talk to. Most of us think they're just that way, but you can actually take the time to reprogram your subconscious, which runs your ego, which gets you the results in the world, gets you the things you create and experience. So if you're not creating what you want, not having the experiences you want, maybe it's time to dig in and do a little subconscious reprogram.
You can change your cha-ching.
Cha-ching! You
can change that thing because, our id has its own cha-ching based on, what happened to us when we were young. It's like that slot machine when the lights and all the dings go off and all those kinds of things. And if we settle for that we got when we were young, then man, we're gonna be chasing a lot of the same things when we're old as we are when we're young. You can change what that reward cycle is. You can change the finish line for your life. But it's not easy, but it's possible. A lot of people have a hard times with addictions, for example, because they can't change the cha-ching. But if you change and that's why I don't believe in I don't believe in trying to, even in the context of addiction, I don't believe the model of trying to dull who I am and just sit in a room and and put myself down and all this other. I don't believe in that. I believe in, man, you can change your reward cycle to the point where you find joy and gratitude, and you can be equally as determined as other things. What if you put that same level of determination as you did to getting that high or that release into the gym? And guess what? You can get the same highs and releases in the gym as you could from a bottle or a website or or a pipe. And so, but you can get a positive return on that going forward. So you can change that motivation, that thing that drives you. You can change the thing that the id is seeking, such that your future looks a whole lot better than your past.
Yeah, one of the things I'll bring back up internal family system again, because that's the whole purpose of internal family system, is to get down into to help those managers who are trying, because that's what the managers manage the fear, and the firefighters put out the fires. They try to put out the emotions, try to keep you calm and sedated. But what they're both doing is using their own version of protecting the exile and getting down. And that's where the internal child work comes in. The inner child work is finding that part of you as that traumatized little child, that little boy that's in the closet hiding from, bad daddy or bad mommy or whatever was going on at the time, going back there and taking that child back and re-raising that child and loving that child, because it's those exiles and then those firefighters and managers inside you that are causing the addictions, that are causing the soothing behaviors, that are causing all these things. And that's why it's so hard to change, because you're not going to the core of the issue. You're trying to put out, whichever fire, but you're not getting to the core of, well, why is this fire even starting? Why is this behavior even here? Well, it's because this part of me, the little boy part of me that was traumatized, hasn't been healed yet. And so many of us men, the reason we have these crazy egos or we have all these issues is because we're not willing to get inside and deal with that little boy. Because a lot of us didn't have the father figure we needed or wanted or should have had or had at all in our lives. And so we have to become that figure for ourselves, which means reparenting our little boy inside, doing the inner child work. If we don't do that, then reprogramming your subconscious or having a better ego, probably not going to happen.
Hey, can I be honest?
No.
Can I be vulnerable?
All right, fine.
All right, I'm going to be vulnerable here. Exactly what you just got finished saying. I'm going to apply this. I'm going to tell you how that applied to my life in terms of a pivot, a change that I made in my life. There was an instance when I was a young kid where it was this craziness going on in the house one night. I mean, just bedlam. I won't even go into all of those details, but it was a bad night at the house.
Was it a party?
No, by far, no. No, it definitely was not. And there was a specific moment where I went to go hide in my closet because I did not want to be found, because I didn't want to be part of the collateral damage of what was going on in the house that night. So I literally went to go hide in the closet in my bedroom behind, I don't know if it was like toys or dirty clothes hamper or something like that. But I went to go hide. And I always relate back to the fact that that little boy in that moment was the one that I'd been trying to protect my whole life. I've been trying to protect, but in my mind trying to protect him, but really I was soothing his pain. I wasn't doing anything to help him. I was enabling him. I was allowing him to drive the show for my life, right? And the decisions that I made and that allowing him to drive, like there's a reason you got to be 16 to drive. There's a reason you got to be 18 to do this and 21 to do this and all that kind of stuff. I was letting a little 6 or 7 year old drive my life, and that was driving my life right in the gutter, straight to hell with gasoline draws on. And it wasn't until I had kind of the dark night of the soul moment where, from that point on, I pivoted and I said, to your point, I'm not going to let him drive. I'm going to drive him. I'm going to parent him. First of all, I'm going to love him, let him know that he's loved, let him know he didn't deserve all that. But then I'm gonna do my part to be the man that should have been there to protect him. I'm gonna protect him now from even his own bad choices, and say, no, I know you want to do this because it feels good, but that's not the right thing to do right now. And in order to reparent him, I had to go back and almost reprogram a whole lot of things. I call it like reprogramming a whole lot of things, but reattaching to him in a more healthy kind of way. And then that was kind of the pivot or the change in my life, in my, if you want to call it subconscious, or in my ego, as we're talking tonight, where it's like, no, I get that you want that because it would feel good, but here's who we want to be, and here's the direction we need to go to be there. I'm gonna take you there, and I'm gonna protect you along the journey. I'm not gonna just release you to the wolves. I'm gonna protect you along the journey, but at the same time, here's where we need to go. So that everything you just said specifically, that's how it applied in my life.
Yeah, and that's why we as men need help. We need a guide for these things, because when we get to that point of healing, getting into the inner child work, doing internal family system or any kind of therapy, you need a guide. You need somebody who can be there, who's objective. Because for us, we probably never dealt with that. We probably don't even want to look at that. We don't want to go back to that experience or to that memory. We don't want to deal with it. So you need somebody who's objective to guide you through that, because it's going to be emotional. It's going to be painful, but the reward on the other side, because basically what you're doing is piecing yourself back together. All those little pieces, all those little parts of you, the exiles, the managers, the firefighters, they're all basically trying to do the same thing. They're trying to love that part of themselves in their own different way. They're trying to soothe the pain. They're trying to manage, control whatever we experience so we don't have those triggers. But you need somebody to help you kind of put those pieces back together. And if you're struggling, because I know I struggled for a long time until I actually started really digging into doing this work, and even doing like a soul retrieval session and doing internal family system and doing all these things where you're just trying to put yourself back together, trying to get back to that whole little person that you used to be that got broken into all these pieces. And that's what we say, you need help. So therapy is not a bad thing. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. Because if you try to do this on your own, it's like, okay, guys, since we're guys, if you tore apart an engine, this is your first time, and you try to put it back together by yourself without the manual or somebody with expertise, and you come up with all those different washers and nuts and bolts, all the extra stuff, that's why you need support. So if you're smart, you get support, you get a therapist, you get a counselor to help you down this road.
Or you reach out to Pro Auto Care.
Or you read out, well, that's for the car.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want them in my head.
No, you said rebuild an engine. So
yeah, I know that was an example of
Gotcha.
You don't want. That's why you need help. You
Gotcha.
need support, because you can tear that engine apart yourself, but
Yeah.
you're probably not going to get back together.
Right.
But you don't want to be digging around in your head by yourself if you don't know what you're doing.
I just wanted a cheap opportunity to plug one.
I know.
I'm just cheap-
It was a good
like
cheap
that.
opportunity.
Cheap like that.
I like that.
Low hanging fruit.
Do it.
But yeah, I mean, and even to that point, one of the other ways that you can get help is to be around other healthy, safe men. A lot of us were wounded and hurt by a man, and so we find ourselves in life not surrounded by men because inherently, even down to maybe that quote unquote subconscious that we don't trust men. But when you allow yourself to be around safe men, healthy men, and of course you got to learn how to identify them, and sometimes you got to learn how to speak for yourself, to advocate for yourself, to draw your own boundaries and all these other kind of things. But when you allow yourself to live in fellowship with other men, then you allow yourself to heal even part, if not all, of that father wound. But that's part of the help that we need, that I think you might be leaning towards.
Yes, that's exactly what we're leaning towards, because when we start digging in to heal, to put those pieces back together, we need a guide, we need somebody there. And the fact that you probably stay away from men, or you think men are toxic or they're meanies or whatever, is because you're still attracting from that wounded spot. You're not seeing reality. So making sure you take the time to get around. And then most of the guys nowadays, if they're in a men's group, if they're doing therapy, if they're doing personal development, those are probably the guys you want to be around. So at least if nothing else, they have a vocabulary and they can talk to you about it. They can say, hey, me too.
And men are not dangerous to those kind of guys. Men are dangerous to a lot of men. I mean, we see men, we see masculinity through the lens of danger and everything that it has to offer me, to hurt me or to harm me. But we don't see the benefits of that healthy masculine circle in our lives, to say, man, there's power in this, man. There's, I can sharpen this sword. It takes a man to make a man, and it takes men, to help a man walk through that man walk. And speaking of walking,
You want to walk out the door? We done?
We ain't gonna walk out the door.
Oh, okay.
But we're gonna take a little break.
Then take that break.
Yeah, Mad Men and Masculinity. We'll be right back. Boom.
Why do I always feel like Jerry Lewis when we go on break?
I don't know, man.
Hey, lady.
You kind of look like Jerry Lewis a little bit.
Don't. That's not even nice, man.
Tanner, don't you look like Jerry
That
Lewis
is
a little
not
bit?
even nice.
Come on, man, be real. See, dude, you look like Jerry.
I thought
Lewis.
I thought we were squad, Tanner. Like I thought we were on the same team. Like
Hey,
you do me dirty like that.
2 votes to 3 up in here, man.
Mhm.
You kind of look like Jerry Lewis.
That's all right. Whatever.
Glasses and everything, man. Y'all got the same haircut. I'm just saying, dude. I mean, sometimes you gotta own it, dude. People told me I look like the Black Jay Leno. It is what it is, man. You just gotta own it.
Glad
Man.
you said that.
You just gotta own it,
I'm
dude.
gonna be picturing that for the
you
rest of the night.
just got to own it, man. It is what it is, man.
You need to throw it out. Get
Yeah,
the
it is what it is,
flares like Jay Leno.
And give me a bunch of nice cars.
Yeah,
He's the one with the nice cars, right?
man, that dude.
Yeah.
Talk about doing it right. Just talk show for 10 years and
Extra
20
money.
years, and then boom.
He got money. His money got money. For real. What? Jay Leno? Married. Oh no!
No,
Oh
no,
no! 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 No!
No, not Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lewis.
He's Jerry Lewis is who he looks like. He might be too young.
Man,
you got to Google Jerry Lewis.
Now we're not cool.
Not Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, that was the singer, the rock dude
with the piano and
comedian Jerry.
Yeah.
See, Jerry Lewis D. Martin. See, he looks like Jerry Lewis.
Can we do a radio show? I'm tired of being run over by the bus.
We'll get back to this. See, we told y'all if you hung around long enough, you'll get some of this break. You'll get some of this break action, man. You know what I'm saying? We get foolish around here. All right, let's get serious. Straight face. All right, here we go. We're back.
Hey, lady!
Oh man, I'm telling y'all, go.
You gotta watch the outtakes.
You gotta watch the breaks, man. You gotta watch the breaks. You'll know exactly what he's talking about, man. But,
So for those of you who can't see us because you're listening to us on the radio on Saturday morning or Wednesdays at 6, apparently I look a little like Jerry Lewis.
I'm saying, dude.
I mean I don't have the buck teeth and whatnot, but apparently glasses, hair.
Those weren't his real buck teeth. He put them in.
Well, he still kind of had the big teeth.
I'm gonna call you the Nutty Professor.
I'm not gonna go there because this is FCC radio, but yes, I'll take that.
Oh, see, man, you always gotta go left, man. You're a line stepper, man. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
You started it.
You always got to go there.
You started it.
Telling you, man. See,
talking about my ego.
I was straight and narrow, and you had to go.
Whatever. You're straight and narrow. Look like
there's not much more American than Jerry Lewis.
That's right.
You had to go all,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, it's all good.
Tell me I look like Jerry Lewis and expect me to be happy about it.
That's true. That's very true.
I'm just saying.
We're talking about your ego right. So your ego is kind of.
See, my ego is butthurt right now
because ego is hurt.
I don't think I look like the man, but apparently I resemble.
You ain't got to agree, but 2 of us in here, 2 out of 3 of us, where I'm from, that's majority. I went to public school, but where I'm from, that's a majority.
We trying to say I can't count? I see how it is. See, the struggle bus is already started, man.
2 out of 3, that's 66% up here. I think you look like Jerry Lewis. 66.6%. You know what I'm saying?
My ego disagrees, and it's a little hurt right now. I'm a little egotistical.
Who don't love Jerry Lewis though, man? He didn't have no enemies, man. Yeah, him and Dean Martin, man, they doing their thing, man.
Martin Lewis.
Who don't have? Jerry Lewis. That's good. That's
he was the man. He was a good man.
He was, man. He was. He dead, right?
I think he finally did. Yeah.
He got to be.
I don't know.
He was around in black and white TV. He's got to be dead.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Sorry, Jerry.
Yeah. My bad, Jerry.
Come back, says.
Tip of 40 for Jerry.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Pour a little out for my homie.
Pour one out for Jerry. There it is. Pour a little Red Bull out for Jerry.
So we'll bring up Jerry and ego because I think Jerry is one of the ones because I think Dean Martin had more of the ego than Jerry.
You think so?
I think he did.
Was Sammy Davis with them too, or was that different?
No, that was a Rat Pack. That was Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr. And then who was the other one?
I don't know.
Man, I'm showing our age right now.
That's before black and white TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's before my time. But yeah, ego get in the way, and you say, "Oh, I can't be like that. I can't be like," and that's how a lot of men, in a real way, that is how a lot of men kind of get caught up in the whole ego game. They have a hard time with the humility of just being in a moment or not necessarily, being the star quarterback or being whatever. Just being able to taking themselves too serious, man. Taking themselves too serious.
Well, the ego, you can always tell. The reason you get offended when somebody says something is because some part of you believes it might be true.
Yeah.
And so it's like, y'all saying I look like Jerry Lewis. Some part of me is like, you kind of do. And I'm like, no. But if you didn't believe it, like somebody can call you a blue panda and you're like, I'm not a blue panda. I don't even know. Then you have no reaction because it doesn't resonate with you. So if you're reacting to somebody's statement, then your ego might believe it's true.
Yeah, I think people take themselves too serious. I think and a lot of guys try to cover up that woundedness with overachievement,
bravado,
and they try to cover up all of that stuff with I'm going to be extra and over the top,
machismo,
and then that gets them in trouble from an ego perspective because they let their ego, almost stifle them or be a glass ceiling as to how far they can go and what they can do, especially in relationship to other men.
Yeah, especially when it comes around to other men. If you have an ego that's a little out of control, it's going to get you in more trouble than not because you are going to be more reactive. You're not going to be able to take a joke. And, the coolest guys are the guys who have the calmest ego, probably are the most dangerous in the room, the smartest guys, because they're usually the quietest and don't take offense because they're like, meh, whatever. but the little Napoleon-esque guys who have the big ego. I'm thinking of where's his name? Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Like in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
This little guy with a big mouth that you got to watch out for because he's got the big ego trying to overcompensate for something. And it's those guys that tend to cause the issues. And so as men, we want to make sure we keep our egos in check, or maybe we do the internal work, we do the inner child work to make sure we have a healthier ego. So we're not so reactive, so we can be calm, so we can be that, peaceful warrior who's ready to lead a family, to lead a community, and be there as a healthy masculine influence. But if our egos are out of check, we're not going to be a healthy masculine influence. We're going to end up being on that toxic, poster.
You can't take yourself too serious. You got to be, matter of fact, when you're secure enough, you can sit on the stage and allow people to roast you.
Mm-hmm.
When
Tom
you're
Brady.
secure enough. When you're secure enough, you can kind of sit back and laugh at yourself. When you're secure enough, you can let somebody else take the lead or drive. Or you can, when you're secure enough, man, you can just roll with the punches, and you don't have to break a golf club because you shanked the ball or something like that, and so on and so on. So, being secure is almost like somewhat of a gateway or something like that to having a balanced and a strong ego. But, fact is, a lot of us guys, man, haven't done that work. And a lot of us are, 40, 50-year-old little boys, man. And we just out here, doing grown-up things, but really motivated from a boy perspective, a boy mindset.
Yeah, if you want to know if you have a healthy ego or not, see how reactive you are. See how angry you are. See how what people say, how it affects you. Because if you've got a healthy ego, if you've done the work, if you've gotten therapy, if you had help, then people could say almost whatever they want, and you'd be like, whatever. I don't have to agree with that. I don't have to buy into that. I don't have to participate. However, if you're very reactive, if you're angry and every little thing ticks you off, it means your ego is out of control, which means you need to get some support to do some inner child work, because that inner child is screaming for help, and it's trying to knock you off. It's trying to get you to that rock bottom, so you'll go, oh, there's something wrong. Maybe I should look internally. But you can do that without having to hit rock bottom by saying, hey, maybe I need to look at myself and find out what's going on in my ego and my subconscious mind, what's running the show. And it's probably that wounded little boy that hasn't been, he's screaming for support. He's screaming for attention. He's screaming for love. And that's why you're so angry and out of pocket and off kilter, because you want that strong foundation. You want to be that peaceful warrior. You got to go within and build that foundation by loving that inner child within you.
And when that screaming little boy feels like he hasn't been heard, then he can't sit back and listen to anybody else. When that screaming little boy demands to be heard, he can't sit back and take feedback. He can't sit back and have somebody give him constructive criticism. He can't be in a relationship where the person, the woman in his life can give him honest, loving feedback. He can't be in a relationship where he can just sit there and listen to her and to actually reflect on that and say, well, maybe I do that, or maybe I could do something different, without listening to respond, without listening to but to just be able to sit back and be the peace, and to be able to say, okay, and keep the meat, spit out the bones, but to be able to receive those kinds of things. So the guy that has the little screaming boy inside of him is the guy that can't do all of these healthy things that grown, mature men can do. And I think, man, I tell you what, from a relationship, a marriage perspective, that is the ideal proving ground to let you know how big, how out of balance or in balance your ego is. And if you can't do these kinds of things, man, you're never going to be successful. You're going to expect her, but you didn't. But you didn't. Even when she's wrong. Like, even, it's like, does it really matter, like, in this moment, but even when she's wrong, even when she's blaming you for everything, because she's caught up in emotions and that kind of stuff. But can you just sit back and can you receive, can you, sift through all of that kind of stuff and hunt for the nugget of truth that could be the thing that you can reflect on later and offer that as a peace offering when it's time to reconcile.
Can we do it goes both ways?
Sure.
Yep, we're going to do it goes both ways.
Man.
So ladies, if your ego, I'm telling you, if you're in a relationship and you cannot take accountability and you have an issue with being told that maybe you're wrong, or having a discussion or taking feedback constructively, maybe it could be a lack of healthy masculine influence, maybe just an ego out of control, maybe the princess syndrome has gone off the rails. But you can always tell a woman who had a healthy masculine influence, who had a good father, because she can say, maybe I did do that, or I'm wrong, or take accountability. And I don't know what's going on today, but a lot of you ladies are running from accountability like it's a plague. You're just like, I ain't taking none of that.
Dude, I'm telling you. I mean, I completely agree with everything you just said, man. When you meet a woman that can, a lot of times she did have a strong, balancing, healthy figure in her life. I think modern femininity has gotten so narcissistic that it has begun to program a whole lot of women that we can't be wrong, that we can't reflect. They're like, no, it's the patriarchy. It's this, it's that. I need to deflect. I need to whatever. And so a lot of times us guys are experiencing the side effects of modern feminism. It's like
sign language.
It's like the medication commercial, the Smelactic, whatever that you hit during the day, and then they tell you all this stuff. They spend all this money with all the beautiful production of everything that's going to do for you. Then at the end, may cause toe bleeding and whatever. I mean, rectal vomiting. I don't know, but I mean, all this other. Can I even say that on there?
No, it's too late now.
Yeah, it's too late now. It's out there. But there's all these side effects. One of the side effects of this modern feminist movement is that a lot of women, obviously not all, but a lot of women that us men are dealing with have, they have kind of caught the sinus infection or the cold from the whole idea that, the feminine ego cannot be challenged. It cannot be wrong. It's all about what we think, what we want. And it's time for us to get everything that we want without any kind of concession, without any kind of compromise, without any kind of work, without any kind of all that stuff.
And if you're getting triggered right now, if you're just chomping at the bit, it's probably because your ego is freaking out because it resonates with you. Some part of you believes that. I mean, if you use sign language to shame, insult, guilt, or need to be right with your man or people in your life, probably you have an ego that's out of control. And so there comes a point where we all have to take personal responsibility. So we're not trying to be mean. We're just trying to flip it over to the other side. Like, hey, men, this is how you deal with your ego. Ladies, you might need to do some of the similar work to heal that inner little girl, to get some support, get some counseling so that you can be healthy and balanced and have a healthy ego. And then maybe have a healthier life, a healthy relationship, healthy children, healthy everything else, because we influence everything around us. And if we're not aware of what's running the show, what the little boy and little girl inside of us are doing, what the subconscious is doing, and we don't take time to reprogram that and put in what we want, to put in those messages and that programming and the things that we want to create and experience in the world, then we're just getting what we're getting. So if you're not happy with what's going on in your life, if you did react to all of that feedback, it's probably a good indication that maybe you need to look at something.
It's a great environment to be in when you have a relationship where both people can kind of take a step back and say, you know what, I didn't handle that the best way, or yeah, you're right, or I could do a better job at that. It's a beautiful environment when you can have two people that can sit back and do that. And so absolutely, I'll give you the goes both ways on that one.
Thank you.
I'll give you a coupon like this little Boy Scout thing I got. I'll give you it goes both ways coupon.
I think we need that. Sometimes we need a goes both ways IOU because it's coming.
It kind of is. I mean, even though I hate that phrase, sometimes it's very appropriate.
I could just hear him out in the audience like, goes both ways. Bing, bing.
And that's true. I mean, we got to acknowledge that. We got to acknowledge that, men, not only do we project that, but we also deal with that. And we got to acknowledge that, yeah, we deal with these kind of things. And so one thing we need to deal with.
Just being real.
Let's take this last break.
Let's take this last break.
Mad Men and Masculinity, KLDC. That was very appropriate.
Just keeping it real, y'all.
That was very appropriate.
Yeah, I know some of y'all got triggered.
Yeah, that was very appropriate. And, sometimes we do, we probably lean more towards, male accountability for our lives. We also have to recognize that, we are dealing with some stuff too. We are not operating in a vacuum as men. We're operating in an environment, Western culture, that is beginning to program females that you don't need a man except for what you can get from them.
Well, and I mean, we most of our organic audience are females. Yeah. And what I've seen is a lot of times they're like grabbing their boyfriend or their man and be like, you need to listen to this. Yeah. So we need to slide some information for you in there too.
These are facts. These are facts.
You go both ways.
These are facts. I hate that phrase, but that was totally appropriate and right on that.
What are we gonna do in the fourth quarter?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We never know.
We'll figure it out.
Fourth quarter time.
And we're back.
We're back.
It's time for the 10 to the goal. What is it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what you.
I don't remember what I was even trying to say.
See, why you think I'm just supposed to know what you're gonna say?
Red zone offense. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Man,
It's time to bring it home.
it's time for me
Bottom
to
of the-
go
bottom
get
of
an
the
ego
ninth.
check.
Bottom of the ninth. We're down by one. We need. We're down by one as a runner on second base. We need a home run.
Okay,
We need to bring it home.
I think I'm a bunt.
Dude, you can't bunt, man. You got to do it on second base, man. You down by two. You can't bunt. I mean, it does you no good to bunt because then you got somebody on. I mean, maybe the guy can advance from second to third, but either way, then you got a guy on first and third. You need 2 runs.
What if I bunted at the pitcher and hit him in the head and then he
You
fall
can't
down?
bunt at the pitcher.
Why not?
Because you don't bunt.
He
at
just
the
threw a
pitcher.
ball at me. Why can't I
No,
hit it
man,
back?
You don't bunt at the pitcher. You bunt down to the ground, maybe in front of him, or normally up one of the,
I don't know.
third base line or first.
I don't
base
think I
line.
made it much past T-ball, so
Probably not.
um,
You probably, king of the wiffle ball league or something like that.
I like them wood ball bats.
You know what I like? I like them slap contests. You ever seen them slap contests?
Man, some of those are crazy.
Dude, it be tripping me out, man. One boy, they got to hold that thing behind them. You got to hold the little stick
Mhm.
whatever behind them. And man,
Keep
they
your
sit
hands
back
behind your back
and
and just let that dude hit
they
you.
wind up. They put that chalk on their hands. They wind up, man. And they one, dude, blah, and the homeboy just like
You just watch them buckle.
some of them guys be eating them slaps, man. But some of them, man, they just go la la land, man. Some of them guys are just.
They be
gone,
talking
man.
mess, and then you see the one dude talking all the mess, and next thing you know, he's just.
I like the one where the guy will go unconscious, then he'll fall forward.
Yeah.
Not fall back, but he'll go unconscious and fall forward on a little podium, man. Them slap like who would sign up for a slap contest?
Dudes with egos.
I
man.
mean, that definitely started in the fraternity house.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely started in the fraternity house. So let's have a slap
But I mean,
contest.
it's a masculine, it's a dude thing. You want to challenge each other, you want to see how much pain you can
Dude,
take and stuff
no
like
way.
that. But there comes a point with age, hopefully,
Yeah.
and humility and wisdom.
Like,
You
man,
ain't gotta hit your boy in the face
No
no
way.
more. I mean,
We
maybe
just
when
gonna-
you're a teenager.
we just gonna take turns slapping each other and see who can. No, back in the day, we did pencil fight in the lunchroom, man. You get that lean into it, get that shoulder. You gotta lift up that shoulder. Everybody know what I'm talking about when you get that thing. You gotta lift up that shoulder.
Snap it.
You lift the shoulder, then you drop the thigh. And you cut, and you gotta come in with a follow through. You know what I'm saying? But then you got guys trying to cheat. But that's what we did. We pencil fought.
Yeah, see,
that's
we weren't trying to hit each other.
We
We hit the
wasn't slapping
pencil.
nobody.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, no, I remember we used to play open neck where you run down the hallway and somebody had their head down, you
Oh,
in the back of the neck. I caught one dude. I was not having a good day. I caught him in midair and put him up against the locker. I was like, not today.
dude, I went to school in the ghetto. You get shot for that.
See,
I went to school in
man.
the hood. I went to school. Yeah, where I was. I got beat up one time after school, man. My watch got taken.
Mm,
That was bad. Man.
That's not
That's a bad day.
that's
man.
not nice.
They punched me in the face and took my watch. Man.
Yeah,
I had a Swatch watch and they took that joint.
man, the swatches were nice back in the day. Yeah,
I had the
you
one
was-
with the little protector, the little rubber band
yeah,
protector
with
on
top,
top.
yeah.
Dude, they took it, man. They punched me in the face and took
No,
it.
I remember I thought I was cool and I called one kid a poser because we were all trying to be skaters and stuff. And then he called me by the movie theater while I was skating.
Yeah.
Luckily, he couldn't punch hard because he hit me and I just kind of looked at him. But I was still like, I was a little scared
Yeah.
because there's 3 of them and one of me. And I'm like,
You should
I
have
don't know
challenged to a slap contest.
how- right?
They also got a pillow fighting league. You ever
That's,
seen
now
that?
that would be
I would do
something.
the pillow fighting
Yeah.
league. Tanner, would you do the pillow fighting league?
He would do it.
No, you would do the pillow fighting. Come on, man. That'd be fun, man. What? No, what? You
gotta
would
do-
get slapped, but you wouldn't do a pillow fight?
Oh
Oh,
well,
gee,
still,
man.
yeah, well, more money, but then you'd be retarded.
Yeah, for real.
Ding, ding, ding.
Man, I ain't no slap. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying,
huge.
man. I ain't got time for all that, man. I do not. I do not have time for all that. I'll do the pillow fight.
But I
contest.
mean, when you look at this stuff, I mean, it just screams toxic ego. It
Toxic
just screams like ego. Like,
because then they be looking at each other like, "Come on,
Yeah.
that's what you got, that's what you got," and you don't realize this dude is just straight up getting paid to slap you in the face.
Yeah.
man. You don't know how this thing's gonna go.
like life doesn't hit you hard enough. Like,
real.
ladies out there don't be slapping you in the face hard enough. Like, hey, come hit me some more.
that lets you know you ain't got enough challenges. I can see it now. Now, when you get something like MMA and stuff like
Mhm.
that, because that's skill and you got to train for that. I mean, these guys, man, they might train like in the gym just to get stronger, but there's no. I mean, come on, man. You
I'm
ain't
sure they.
spending
I'm sure they.
hours of technique. Come
Yeah,
on,
they
man.
probably be
Boxers,
slapping that bag.
Yeah, no, man. I see that don't take no skill, man. You just stand up and slap each other. If it's something that you can do right here, right now, that ain't no skill. me and you can't do no MMA or not boxing, nothing like that.
You might not be able to,
but man, get out of here. You can't do no MMA right now, man.
I used to train MMA, but it was more for fitness. I did. I got my butt whooped by actual fighters, but I was good exercise.
And that's why you quit.
Well, it's like that's
Day one.
talk about my ego. I mean, I started martial arts in the Air Force, and then I thought I was going to be a fighter, and then I went with real fighters and was like, maybe not.
Not so much.
No, I'll be a lover, not a fighter, because I like my face in most of the condition it is now.
I ain't doing none of that, man. My face already hammered up, man.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. If you have a healthy ego, you can admit that to yourself. You can be like, hey, this ain't for me. Like, I don't really like getting punched in the face. I don't like getting kicked in the stomach. So maybe not. I'll exercise, I'll work out, or do some jujitsu. I'll do all the stuff so I get good cardio and hang out with these fighters. But when it comes down to actually fighting, I'm good.
And that's the thing, again, another ego scenario. Some dude trying to talk trash somewhere, whatever, ego guy trying to call you out, trying to whatever, road rage, all these kind of scenarios. Do you really need to win, the road rage incident? Do you really need to win, the guy that's trying to show off downtown, at the club or whatever? Do you really need to win that? Like, what does it prove? Are you not a grown man? Those are ego kind of scenarios, man. And you got to be able to have a security about yourself. You got to be able to have balance in, yes, I could. Matter of fact, man, some of the most bad people I know are people that can beat up everybody in the room.
Yeah, and most of them will walk away from.
I never feel in danger when I'm around the 8th degree black belt that we know.
Yeah.
I mean, I been around boxers and MMA. I've been around Navy SEALs, and it's the ones that try to be the posers are the ones that that are just the ones that have a fragile ego. But those guys that they know they can, so they don't need to prove that they can.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite YouTube videos. Is when trash talkers get owned, or when the dude who think he can fight for the Street Fighter comes into the actual gym, and gets owned, and gets a little respect. Like he gets a little respect beat into him. Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, if you have a healthy ego, if you have some humility, you have some wisdom. Because I've even seen Navy SEALs talk about that. Some of these guys who are trained to be killers, some guy came up to them. He's like, I'll just run away. Why would I even waste my time, waste my energy? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this guy has a knife or a gun or if he's got people around the corners. Like, so I know who I am. I'm healthy enough. I have a healthy enough ego that I can actually accept the humility and say, hey, the situation is not good. I can just run away and just get myself out of the situation. But if your ego is out of check, you're going to try to stand there and prove yourself. And guess what? You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who that guy is. You don't know what he could do or what the scenario is. He could have a gun, a knife. I mean, he could have a bunch of boys around. I mean, sometimes ego get you write checks that your booty can't cash.
I've seen with my own 2 eyes, my own bare eyes, a female business owner decided she was going to put hands on a man to get him out of her establishment. She wasn't going to ask for help, call for help. She wasn't going to call the cops, nothing like that. She was going to take care of herself.
How'd that work?
It didn't. Didn't work out for her too good at all. And, again, one of those, do I really need to? Yeah. And we live in a state, for example, where a lot of people, it's a Second Amendment state. A lot of people have, concealed permits. A lot of people are carrying, firearms these days and that sort of stuff. And it's the guy that wants to, pull it out and show it. I want to pull my gun out and show everybody or, whatever. Those are the guys those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that you got to worry about. It's the ones that realize that if I pull it out, it's going bang.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're already there. And so it's the scenarios that indicate whether you have a strong, healthy ego or not. If you don't have a strong, healthy ego, you might want to get that in check.
Yeah. And if you just moved to Colorado and didn't know, we got not quite guns like Texas, but we're getting there.
We're pretty close.
We are
pretty close.
Just be careful who you messing with.
Wherever you are, there's probably somebody carrying, unless you're in some kind of establishment that says you can't, and they got metal detectors. Yeah. But otherwise, if you at a restaurant, a mall, whatever,
there be guns everywhere.
You could be in banks. You'd be surprised, man, how many people are carrying concealed out there.
So check your egos, fellas, because you don't know what dude's packing.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
And for all you guys who want to be healthy, for all you guys who want to actually have a healthy ego and do the work and actually improve yourself, get with your boys. I mean, Mad Men of Masculinity, and make sure you mark your calendars. August 24th, The Masculine Empowerment Network
Uh-oh.
Men's Summit is coming to Parker,
Uh-oh.
Colorado,
Uh-oh.
and we are going to be selling tickets starting Father's Day.
Uh-oh.
And it's all about you guys. It's about you coming together, meeting other guys, learning a few things, hearing a few things. A lot of stuff we talk about. I think some of us might be talking.
Uh-oh.
You
said it.
I did say it.
You said it. You
I
said it is out there.
Just got to put it out there. It's happening.
We got to get around other guys. We got to heal our masculine wounds and masculine traumas. We got to get to the point where we're secure enough where we don't feel threatened or dangerous. That little boy doesn't feel in danger. And we need to walk and carry ourselves like that. When we carry ourselves with that kind of royalty, then the world is not in danger. When we carry ourselves with insecurity from having a fragile ego, then the world is in danger. That's when people around us are not safe and not healthy.
And that's why we put these things together. That's why we do the show. Because we want you men to get around other men and build up some humility, build up some wisdom, get a healthy ego, reprogram your subconscious so that you're building and experiencing a better life for yourself, for your family, for the community, for the world.
Yeah. And these are the things that we found is important. And these are the things that we highly recommend to everyone. Like I said, man, one of the best things I ever did was to heal that as best as I could. And it's an ongoing process because sometimes I got to go revisit some things that old me wants to pop up. But to heal those traumas, to heal those wounds, to parent that wounded boy that's inside of us. Most of us are adult men protecting a wounded boy inside of us. To heal that and to parent him instead of just trying to protect him, both at the same time. And then, like I said, when you get around other healthy men, when you start to develop masculinity in a circle, then then you end up being in a better place. And so does society, so does our families, so does our workplaces. All end up being better because when men are the tide, and when the tide comes in, all boats rise.
Yeah, and if you have a reactive ego, if you are reactive, if you are angry, you need to get around other guys so they can check you, so they can show you how to be healthy, so they can show you that it's not all about that. It doesn't matter what people say. You don't got to be all angry and crazy. But if you're not around other guys, if you're isolating, then you may not know. You may not have the support. So we're just saying, get some guys around you, some healthy men, get some support, and then check your ego.
Yeah.
Check your ego, fellas. And until next time, we are the Madmen. We want to see you August 24th. We want to see you every week right here on KLDC, Saturdays at 8, Wednesdays at 6. Make sure you go to YouTube, Madmen of Masculinity, like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It will tell you when we're coming up again. And until next time, Madmen out.
I'll be